We got 4 college football playoff games this weekend. Let's not waste any time. Let's get it.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see you at the national championship.
Front row seats, apparently, says Brian Kelly. He's got
Can't
tickets.
wait to change the intro, man.
He's got tickets. Welcome back, everybody, to the South End Zone. My name is Tyler, joined always by my good friend Chad, and we have college football playoff first round games. Before we get into that, I want to make sure to tell everybody to like, share, comment, subscribe. Chad, how are we feeling?
I'd be feeling better if we were playing in the college football playoff. Thank you, Brian Kelly. But I'm, pretty optimistic about the future.
DJ Lagway potentially in that future.
Well, we'll see. DJ Lagway, Sam Levitt. They're actually talking about Brendan Sorsby as like a real potential.
I heard Tech is really in on Sorsby.
Yeah, and we'll see. Like you know how it is. It's all rumors and conjecture until they actually
Would you take DJ Lagway as your quarterback after he pumped the brakes on him so hard?
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, because I think that he's part of why Billy Napier got fired. The inability to develop him and to help him realize his potential. Because dude was the number 1 overall quarterback 2 years ago. 5-star, just a stud. It's like 6'4", 250 or something.
Got the build to be something special.
He's built like Tim Tebow, but he can actually like throw the ball.
Yeah.
And he's not as good of not as accomplished a runner, but I think like letting him get into not Billy Napier, a Lane Kiffin system would be really good. But look, that's not what we're here to talk about.
All right,
we're here to talk about the college football playoff. It is round 1 coming up. You guys have the luxury of sitting home and watching, along with Indiana, Ohio State, and Texas Tech. Shout out to the Big 4 for getting 3 teams in this year. That makes it now it's the same 3 teams that were in there last year. The only one that's missing from this year's playoff is Penn State. Meanwhile, the SEC has 3 new teams in the playoff. I'm sorry, 4 new teams in the playoffs. Alabama, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss all appearing this year. Did not appear last year. Last year you had Tennessee and Texas. They did not make it this year. But it just speaks to, again, we've talked about it over and over again. You got the Big 4 over there with their 4 good teams. And then you have the SEC that has, that's 2 years, 7 playoff teams, 7 different schools.
The Big Breeze, as Cam Newton calls them.
That's right. And look, I know people are poo-pooing the Tulane and James Madison appearances in this playoff as like, this is not the best 12 teams. They, whatever. I want to see. Okay, well, you got to draw lines somewhere. And I have been a big proponent and as long as the format is going to be as it is with 12 teams, I have always been a big proponent of it's not right to penalize these schools at these other conferences where they don't have this tremendous opportunity to play multiple games against the big Power 4 conference teams.
They get 1 a year. Most of them get 1 or 2 a year.
You get maybe 1 a year. And yes, I know we have a rematch, Tulane against Ole Miss, and Ole Miss beat the brakes off of them the first time they played. We'll see how it goes down this weekend. But like I'm kind of a fan of letting until you expand the playoff, which would allow a Texas, a Vanderbilt, a Notre Dame into the playoff. I'm okay with Notre Dame getting bounced out because they lost the 2 tough games they played.
And those teams are playing each other.
When James Madison, exactly. Texas A&M and Miami are playing each other in the first round. But James Madison, they only have the 1 loss. It was to Louisville early in the season,
and almost beat them.
Louisville. Miami also lost to Louisville, and that's who beat Notre Dame. So, like at this point, I'm looking at it like, well, I don't know. Are you sure James Madison isn't just as deserving, maybe even just as good as Oregon, I'd like to see the games be played. I'm a big let's let the games be played. Let's not do this thing where we sit from the cheap seats and we say that team is not good enough. They shouldn't be in there, because that's the kind of stuff that, say what you want to say about how it was during the early BCS era. 2008 Boise State goes undefeated, beats Oklahoma in the Fiesta Bowl, and they don't even get a sniff. I would have loved to have seen that team play in a 12-team
2017 UCF or whatever that was, 2016, 2017 UCF.
That UCF team, yep. And just to see what, like, it, you can't tell these programs we have decided that you're not good enough to be in here.
That's how you get sued, ladies and gentlemen. That's literally how, like, I think Pate said that. That's literally intentionally keeping the G5 out because you say so is literally how you get sued.
Yeah. So sorry about that. That's my apologies.
Okay.
I had an alarm go off. But yeah,
we're here,
so
we're awake.
It's also, I don't think it's good for the sport.
No.
And we'll get to the games here in just a second, but what I would like to see is I'd like to see it expand to at least 16. I wouldn't be opposed to 20 or 24, but I think 16 would be a nice, safe number where when you get past 16, that's when you start getting into the 3 and 4 loss teams that you can really look at it and be like, hey, look, you had your opportunities and you kind of blew it. Yeah. So I think where we are right here is you have some teams on the outside looking in that I think have a legitimate shot at winning it. Vanderbilt, Notre Dame, Texas, namely. You might be able to mix in one other school that could fit into that mix, but that's a pretty safe add on 3 teams. Mm-hmm. And I think if you do that, you're not hurting the game, you're not hurting the product. All you're doing is adding another layer to that first round, to where then the Indianas, Texas Techs, Ohio States, and Georgias of the world have somebody to play week 1 by bringing 4 more teams in, and then you just have a full now Indiana would be playing James Madison and Ohio State. That would be
electric, by the way. Just saying, as like a matchup.
Yes, Signetti against his whole team. Yeah, and we have a lot of that going on, by the way. So let's get into it. We have rematches galore, and it all starts with Friday night's Alabama Oklahoma matchup in Norman. Oklahoma now favored by 1.5. Alabama was favored for a minute here. This spread is just kind of gone back and forth.
It's a pick 'em game, no matter who's favored. Let's be for real.
It really is, and I'm hearing a lot of talk about well, if Alabama just takes care of the ball, they should be okay. Like, really? And then Alabama outgained Oklahoma by 200 yards. Like, well, yeah, that's because
you also turned the ball over.
Oregon had a pick 6, and then you set them up with a short field, and so like they didn't need to put up that kind of yardage. And good luck the way that Alabama's offense has been playing recently versus solid to elite defenses in the case of Georgia in the SEC championship. I'm a little worried, and we look at it here. Both of these teams struggle to run the ball. Oklahoma, the 100th best rush offense. Alabama, 123. Right. But the one X factor in that is that Oklahoma, as bad as their offense has been, they're starting to trend up. I know it didn't look pretty from a score standpoint when they barely eked by my LSU Tigers late in the season. But if you go back and look, they're like the last few games. Mateer was the last 2. Mateer had 173 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no picks. And then against LSU, 318 passing, 2 touchdowns. He did have the 3 picks, but he's also running the ball. Against Missouri, 18 carries for 60 yards, 8 carries for 27 yards against LSU. There were some sacks in there that kind of brought those numbers down. He had 2 sacks against Missouri for 14 yards. But his ability to run the ball and to be a willing participant in the running game makes it to where their rush offense, unlike Alabama's, is not just based on, and we'll see, like, one of the big keys for me is how healthy is John Mateer? He's had 3 weeks not playing.
We're going to have that's like you need time with a hand injury. Like he actually finally had time.
Right. And then how healthy is Jam Miller? And the one thing that nobody's talking about, so like these teams, look at those rush defenses. Alabama, if there's a weakness, it's Oklahoma and their not so great running offense against Alabama's solid but not exceptional run defense. Alabama cannot run the ball, and Oklahoma is the number 3 rush defense in the country. So good luck. So now if Alabama becomes one-dimensional, they're playing in Norman. It's going to be raucous. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be like one of the most electric. Like Oklahoma hasn't played a home game with this kind of stakes ever. Like I don't like where it's like lose and you're going home, win and you're advancing to play the number 1 seed in the national championship bracket, right? So if you make Alabama one-dimensional, now they've got to try to throw the ball. And yes, they have the number 18 pass offense, but Oklahoma has like dogs on that defensive front getting after you and forcing you to make quick reads, quick throws. And by the way, we talked about health with Jan Miller and with John Mateer. Our Mason Thomas is back. He missed 3.5 games after he got hurt running that scoop and score back against Tennessee. He is back. He was not present for the game against Alabama the first time they played. He is back now, and he is an absolute monster.
I'm very curious. Do you think that Oklahoma could win this game without turning Alabama over? Like if Oklahoma is like net neutral or even, God forbid, like minus at the turnover margin, then they can still beat Alabama. Or do you think that Oklahoma has to be plus in the turnover margin to beat Bama with the way the offense tends to run?
I don't know, because what we haven't seen is like this Alabama offense do what they were doing early in the season.
They were humming. They beat us
against lesser defenses. Like you go back to the last 2 quarters against you guys, nothing.
Right.
In that first game, and then you pretty much shut them down. They had like what I would consider a pretty fortunate drive to get their 1 score against you.
Yeah, that was the luckiest bullshit. Like the ref literally set a pick on our guy trying to tackle him. And
you have like a referee setting a pick. You have a batted ball going straight up in the air, coming right down to a tight end. You have multiple pass interference penalties that if your DB just turns around on one of them, it's like it might be a pick.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. The other thing I was going to say is the question kind of begs another question. Can Oklahoma win without turning Alabama over? I would respond with, can Alabama get through this game without turning the ball over?
That's also a great question. There's also a question of Ty Simpson's health, I think, in the background. I've seen like rumblings, like, which is very fascinating because it sounds like they might have kept his health under wraps almost on purpose. But either way, they have you have Cuevas back too as well, and Jam Miller, and possibly LT Overton back for Bama as well, I think. So we got a game on our hands. I don't know. I would say bet the under, if anything, if you're a betting man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, and Oklahoma's not been a great passing offense, but they have been at other times. And like I said, Mateer's last game against LSU, he did have he had over 300 yards passing. He did throw 3 picks. LSU's got a really good pass defense though, and also like just a good overall defense, good at getting after the quarterback, creating pressure. Blake Baker does a really good job of that. But one thing that I've noticed is you go back to the Missouri game where that game was just kind of like ugly to start. And then all of a sudden Oklahoma pops a couple of big plays and
they grind it out. They grind it out until the explosives kind of make their way out.
Yep. And that Satania kid, just like he's a burner, man. Yeah.
You and I literally said Satania in unison. Yeah. You and I are both going to the exact. That's so funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny. But it's funny.
And he did it against LSU too. It's big plays, and I don't know. It's that Arbuckle Mateer combo and they've had 3 weeks. Alabama's had 2 weeks, but Oklahoma's had 3 to start getting ready for this game. And I know they didn't know who they were going to be playing until the bracket came out.
Mm-hmm.
But you had some time to rest, get some guys healthy. Army St. Thomas, John Mateer, namely, but other guys too, and then also like to prep yourself to self-scout and to put yourself in the best position. And then when you get your matchup, now you can go and look at their film and see like, okay, we can exploit this, we can exploit that. So Alabama's got a really good pass defense, but we'll see. It's going to be one of those games of like, it's the irresistible force against the immovable object, and then the resistible force against the movable object in some cases, where it's like weak on weak, strong on strong, and then in some cases it's weak on strong and strong on weak. It's very compelling, and I think that 1.5 point spread. I wouldn't want to be Vegas trying to put a spread on this thing.
It's impossible. That's why it's like it's a pick. It's just a straight up pick 'em, dude. That's like what it comes down to. I thought this was funny. You know what?
It's just edge Oklahoma because they're playing at home. To me,
that's all. Oh, it is, yeah. Because like they say, a home field advantage is worth like 3 points on a spread usually.
Yeah, well,
right?
And you've heard me talk about it ad nauseum. I'm sure people are probably sick of hearing me saying it, but bro, it makes a difference when you are playing on the road.
100%. Third down,
you struggle to protect your quarterback already. As Alabama has done, we've seen Ty Simpson getting sacked, getting stripped.
And that was in Tuscaloosa.
Throwing the ball into coverage, and getting picked off. Like this is potentially, they played that one in Tuscaloosa and did what they did. Wait until they come play against Oklahoma in Norman with that crowd, and now you've got to try to protect Ty Simpson when your left tackle is looking at the ball because he can't hear the snap count.
Yeah, I got 2 things to say before we move on. One, did we think that when Oklahoma and Texas came into the SEC that Oklahoma would be looking at their 3rd win over Alabama since they've shown up to potentially go 3-0? And then does Kalen DeBoer have a Brent Venables problem?
Yes. And Steve Sarkisian can't beat Georgia.
It's a weird
very weird dynamic.
And also,
Oklahoma struggles against Texas. Texas cannot beat Georgia. Georgia has struggled against Alabama until just this most recent one.
Yeah.
But then Oklahoma beats the brakes off of Alabama. I don't understand.
You want to know? This is such a weird stat. Not a weird stat, but funny. Do you want to know the last time that Alabama lost to the same team?
1893.
You saw it. The mighty Birmingham Athletic Club.
Yeah.
We all remember. You were there. I was there. The mighty Birmingham Athletic Club. What a time.
It's wild though. That's just so one thing is it's until just recently you've never played people twice in a season.
Yeah, true.
So like there's a reason why that stat is the way that it is. It's not just because they
all have done it and we have done it. It's really us. It's us. It's really the trio of us at Alabama, because y'all had to play them twice in the season because regular season and national championship.
Well, and we've done it with you guys
twice in the SEC championship and playoffs.
Right, and we've beaten you guys twice in a season. Shout out to 2003. You were too little. You don't remember, but. Yeah, we beat you in the SEC championship after we beat you in Baton Rouge.
Was that Shockley?
Yeah. Shockley and Green and those guys. Yep. So but yeah, it's gonna be crazy. I'm super hype about it. This is because this is a Friday night matchup. It's gonna be electric. Should be a whole lot of fun. Under the lights, crazy crowd, all that stuff. What's not gonna be fun is another potentially electric atmosphere in College Station at Kyle Field. Miami comes to play Texas A&M. This is like the 2 teams that beat Notre Dame to start the season get to go up against each other to prove why Notre Dame didn't belong in here in the first place. But they're playing this game at 11 o'clock in the morning local time. I don't understand it.
I don't understand. I think it's because maybe like the matchup numbers, like the seedings, like the first round games, like because like 2 of them are with ESPN. I think the other ones were punted to TNT, not HBO. They're like TNT or something.
Right.
And so like, and I don't know if like they just decided like these numbers, this seed game will go here,
Right.
this seed game will go here, this seed game will go here.
Right.
I don't know if they just assumed. I don't know why you would just say, yeah, let's make the 5-12 matchup the night game on Saturday off the rip, because the best games, I think even from the previous year, were 7-10 and 8-9.
Well, it makes sense because that's where you have your teams that
like the at-large bubble teams.
They're not the automatic berths.
Right.
Playing, where you have, because like let's look. I talked about how I like that these teams are in here, but the reality is Tulane Ole Miss is a 6 versus 20, even though it's 6 versus 11 in the seeding, and Oregon James Madison is 5 versus 24, even though it's 5 versus 12. This is legit 7 versus 10.
Yeah, literally.
And 8-9 is actually 8-9.
Right.
So I get it. A 3.5 point spread here. And I want to real quick, talked about going to the under here. The over under in the Alabama Oklahoma game is 39.5. I still like the under.
Yeah.
I still like the under. I also like the under in this game. And here's why.
Really? Okay.
Texas A&M runs the ball really well. Miami has the number 7 run defense. Now, granted, competition matters. Who have you played? Who have you put up that? But if you have the number 7 run defense in the country, it matters who you played. But they wouldn't have been 70th if they played in a different conference.
They played Notre Dame. I'll
tell
you that much.
Right. And then Miami has the number 74 rush offense, and Texas A&M has the number 42 rush defense. So it's like good on great.
Yeah.
And then it's mediocre on mediocre, or mediocre on decent, Right. So can Miami generate enough of a run game? That's going to be an interesting matchup to see if A&M can get their run game going against a tough run defense, and if Miami, who struggles to run the ball consistently, can get it going against A&M. Then both of these teams throw the ball really well, but they both defend the pass really well. So you have number 27 versus number 30 pass offense versus pass defense, A&M versus Miami, and then 24 versus 24 Miami's pass offense against A&M's pass defense. And I think it really is going to come down to Carson Beck versus Marcel Reed, who turns the ball over,
right?
And who makes the big plays.
Yeah,
they've got weapons. They both have weapons.
They both have weapons. They both have a few multiple INT games, both of them this year. But you're right. Like I am on record as saying probably like around week 4 to week 5, maybe even 6. That Miami was like one of the 3 best teams in the country. I did say that, just based off the weapons that they had on both sides of the ball.
Yep.
Like the receiving talent is out of this world. Tony and CJ Daniels.
Yeah, and Keelan Marion too. Like
right.
he's up there. And 560. He doesn't have the touchdowns, but he's Mark
Fletcher, the running back, is a dog. Like they have. It's literally about, can Carson Beck play? Is Jekyll and Hyde? I talked about it last year. It is what Carson Beck wants to show up. Is it the Carson Beck that helped us dominate Texas, or is it the Carson Beck who lost to Louisville on a Friday night in Coral Gables?
Yeah,
we don't know.
And does Le'Veon Moss play? Because he's questionable for the game, and if he's available,
right,
some of that that 29th rush offense.
Ruben Owens can tote the rock, but it does help. Right.
Ruben Owens is really good, but it helped like that. They're 29th running the ball in the country without Le'Veon Moss for like 5-6 games.
And conversely, is this going to be the Marcel Reed that went into South Bend on a Saturday night and lit it up? Or is this going to be the Marcel Reed that put them in like a 30-point deficit against South Carolina at home? We don't know. But
or is it going to be the Marcel Reed that came back and beat South Carolina in the second half too?
Also,
it's like he was literally both of those people in the same game. It's crazy. And also, like, is Texas A&M going to be able to hold Miami off? because they have had a propensity against quality offenses of giving up points.
And I
They've had some games where they gave up 40 to Notre Dame. They gave up 40 to Arkansas. Like it's not a foregone conclusion. Yeah, so it's 41-40 against Notre Dame, 45-42 against Arkansas. They did give 25 points up to us, and our offense was terrible. And they gave up that 30-point first half to South Carolina. They shut the door the rest of the way. And if you look at it, after that, they shut the door on South Carolina in the second half, but then they went to Austin, Texas, and their last game, they've got a pretty bitter taste in their mouth. They got handled by Texas. So I don't know. I still think A&M has the better overall talent, and I like Mike Elko over Mario Cristobal when it comes to if I've got to make a call based on coaching. And look,
but
I've been to Kyle Field twice.
Go ahead.
It's weird, man. It's
is
different.
It what they say it is?
It's crazy. I think I do definitely think some of the cheers and whatever stuff that they do, y'all can call them yell leaders all you want. That's weird. Y'all are weird. Y'all are very weird. But it's electric. I'll give it that much. It is when you see people, the entire stadium moving in unison.
Yeah.
Like it's it's wild. Yeah. And so that's what the only thing that sucks about this is why is this game at 11 o'clock?
Yeah, but this should be a night game.
This should be a night game.
This would break sound barrier. Like this would measure the Richter scale at a night game.
That's the other thing. It's 100,000 plus. It's like 110 or something. It's a huge stadium.
A sneaky name versus name. Obviously, they don't play each other because they play the same side of the ball. But you have the ACC Defensive Player of the Year, Reuben Bain, and the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, Cassius Howell. But this is a setup of a perfect 7-10.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. I always believed that Miami should have been an over Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
But I've been beating that drum. I should believe they both should have been in. That's just me. I think that Alabama should have been kicked out. That I would stand on that.
Yeah.
Whatever. But here we are. This is the We Both Beat Notre Dame Bowl. That's just literally what it is.
Right.
I'm very excited. If these teams offensively play to their potential, we're going to have fireworks.
Yes.
At 11 o'clock in the morning.
Absolutely.
Mario Craver, Casey Concepcion, CJ Daniels, Malachi Tony. If they're all going stupid, we're going to have a barn burner.
Ruben Owens and Mark Fletcher and Carson Beck and Marcel Reed. And then the defenses, the dudes on defense. It's
the dudes.
Bro, you probably have 30 NFL players playing in this game. It's crazy.
That's what I mean. And it's that's what I was saying from the beginning. That's the talent on the Miami roster was why I believe before they dropped their first game, why I believe they were one of the top 3 teams in the country.
Yeah.
I would almost lean with Miami here. I think they could sneak in there. I'm not going to pick a side. I think these games are too close to call. I just think that this is going to be electric, even at 11 o'clock in the morning. I think that if any team or fan base can get up at 11 o'clock in the morning and make it a game, it's Texas A&M.
Right. No, for sure. And look, we talked about Notre Dame. Should they be in here? Should they not? Okay, so let's just say we rearrange this thing, and you've got James Madison playing Indiana in the first round, and then Oregon is playing BYU in the first round, and then Texas Tech or Ohio State is playing Tulane in the first round, and Ole Miss is instead playing, I don't know, Texas or Vanderbilt or Notre Dame. And then you have, Texas Tech playing one of the other ones, playing one of those Texas, or that would be great. Texas and Texas Tech in the in the first round. And then, have Vanderbilt play Georgia or something like that. There's a way, people. There's a way for this to all work out. And then you let those teams in. And I don't think anybody would be upset if Utah, USC, and Arizona didn't get in, because nobody's talking about those teams as contenders for this stuff. So anyway, moving right along, later on that day, on Saturday, at 2:30 local time in Oxford, Mississippi, we'll see how many people show up. Hey, you got a home game. You should probably go to it. Ole Miss faces Tulane, and it's one of those ones where we have to kind of take some of these stats into our little meat grinder with a grain of salt, right? So Tulane puts up these numbers, but they're putting them up in a conference that is not on the level of the SEC, but it is what it is. And we do have the data of these two teams playing each other earlier in the year. That was also in Oxford, and Ole Miss handled business. So what do you see from this one? Just like first glance, first blush.
Well, I think that you're going to see an Ole Miss sideline without Lane Kiffin.
Mm-hmm.
They get to keep their offensive coordinator for this playoff run. I guess because Lane Kiffin's such a gracious guy, they get to keep their offensive coordinator. With that being said, I think that Ole Miss is a very talented team, regardless of who's the head coach. They came into Athens. I mean, we had to go toe to toe with them to the very end. Trinidad Chambliss is a very good quarterback. He can get rattled. We've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think that I wonder what Sumrall is telling his team. That's more what I'd be curious about, because you get another shot at him, right? And this is a shot at him. This is once again in Oxford. This is a playoff atmosphere. Of the two G5 teams, I think that if any team has a chance to actually win or make this a very competitive game, it's going to be Tulane. If they can, because Ole Miss jumped on them so early, Tulane never had a chance. Yeah. I think if Tulane can stick to the game plan and get in it, they can at least make it a game.
Mm-hmm.
But I would honestly wouldn't be shocked if Ole Miss covers 17.5.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. And I will say it's funny. So if I may, let me get my little joke off about this whole LSU, Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin. There's a lot of self-righteousness among. You see it all over Twitter. The Ole Miss faithful definitely feel like there is no question, and it's very obvious that the right decision was to, number one, kick Lane Kiffin out the door, and number two, then claim that he abandoned his team. And the reason why they say he abandoned his team is because he didn't sign an extension to stay with the team for 10 more years or 5 more years or whatever. So it's so that's the equivalent of abandoning your team, right?
Right.
And that's the reason why he cannot be allowed to coach in the playoffs. He wanted to coach in the playoffs. So he didn't abandon his team. You kicked him out. That's not abandoning. That is respecting your wishes to put up a restraining order to not let him around anymore. But you let his offensive coordinator, who is our LSU's offensive coordinator, come back. Meanwhile, I don't know if you saw it, but Trinidad Chambliss is talking about how he's not sure what he's going to do after this season.
Does he have more eligibility left?
We don't know yet, because he filed and there's some people who are saying he's not going to get it granted. What happened was, when he was in junior college at Ferris State or whatever,
that's Division 2.
Not junior college, yeah, Division 2. He played 2 games one year.
Oh.
And he's requesting that be counted as a redshirt year. It would have been a redshirt year if he played at any other level.
Right. I was going to say D2, D3, once you step on the field, it's over. That's the season.
Yeah. And so there's a lot of question with that. Like, if Diego Pavia gets an extra year, there's a lot of precedent that suggests this should go his way, but there's no guarantees. But he also didn't say, I want to get another year of eligibility because I want to run it back with these guys and go take a shot at a back-to-back national championship. He said, we're just going to have to see what options are there and what I'm going to do, and I don't know what I'm going to do yet. So where's the Ole Miss fans telling him he's abandoning the team and kicking him out the door? And why does Charlie Weiss get to come back? Y'all got to pick a struggle, Ole Miss fans. I think what it is you're just salty that Lane Kiffin left.
They absolutely are. Well, then they've been clear when we booed him at the airport. But
as soon as you knew he was not going to stay around, you immediately turned tail on him, and he became like the biggest villain. And now you can say whatever you want to say about him, and it's all his fault. Meanwhile, you have other people within your program saying the same things, and they don't get that same treatment. And you also had your offensive coordinator leave, take another job with a rival, and you're letting him come back to coach your team. Meanwhile, by the way, they're stealing our running backs coach, Frank Wilson. He's not really stealing him. Lane Kiffin's letting him go, and he's trying to get Kevin Smith to come and bring Kewan Lacey with him. So, that would be I would not be upset about that. And I don't know, we'll see. We'll see how this all works out. But yes, let's get into the numbers real quick. Ole Miss, a really good offense. Number 24 running the ball. Number 5 passing the ball. Trinidad Chambliss, running one of the most efficient pass offenses in the country. And Charlie Weiss Jr. being there to call the plays, even without Lane Kiffin, bodes well for Ole Miss. And Pete Golding, I think people are going to be surprised. I think he's a good dude, very well respected in Louisiana. He's from Hammond, right down the road from Baton Rouge. That's why I was kind of hoping he would have come over with Lane Kiffin, but didn't work out that way. Tulane is not great on defense, so this is, I think, why they struggled in this first matchup with Ole Miss. They really, really struggle against the pass. Damn near dead last in the country among FBS schools. And then they're okay against the run, but it ain't great. And the competition that they've faced has not been great either. And again, if you go back to that earlier matchup against Ole Miss back in September, and you look at how this game broke down, Ole Miss ran the ball for 241 yards and threw the ball for 307. So it's going to be tough, man. And Tulane is okay offensively. Jake Retzlaff has done, a good job of kind of resurrecting his image and everything else and helping Tulane out there, but kind of middle of the pack on offense on both sides of the or both aspects of the offensive side of the ball. And Ole Miss's defense, not great against the run, but solid to mediocre. And then their pass defense is, it's not the top, but it's solid. So it's just going to be a struggle for Tulane to keep up with their what I think is going to be an inability to stop Ole Miss's offense.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody could, except for us. No, I'm kidding. It's very difficult to stop Ole Miss's offense. Once they get going, it's kind of going to be over from there. So that's like the only thing. Is like Tulane just has to keep play possession and hope for the best, essentially.
Yep. So now it's time for me to have a bone to pick with you. Okay. You said this was the matchup that if a group of 5 was going to win the first round game, have that first win for a group of 5 team in the college football playoff, that it would be Tulane against Ole Miss. I completely disagree. If anybody's going to do it, it's James Madison in Eugene. Shout out to your cousin.
Yeah, I was going to say, maybe disrespectful, but I want to believe, but I don't want to get my hopes up so high. But maybe that's me protecting my own feelings about not wanting to. I would love nothing more than to see JMU be Oregon. That'd be amazing.
Yeah, so James Madison comes in and a pretty good defense that they bring to the table. And, I think maybe it's some of that DNA from the Cignetti years that has carried over into the Chesney years, and he's still there.
They brought in some nice transfers on the defense to start the year. They brought in the guy from Notre Dame.
Yeah, they lost a bunch of dudes to Cignetti, admittedly, last year, but they replenished the cupboard. And like number 2 in the country against the run, and they're number 5 running the ball. So that's one to watch. If Oregon struggles to run the ball and James Madison can actually run the ball, because Oregon's got a really good run defense too. So it's just going to be we talked about some of these week on week, strong on week on strong kind of matchups. This is strong on strong, strong on strong. And the only thing that where there's an issue is Oregon's pass offense and James Madison's pass offense, where I see okay, Oregon's a little better there and James Madison's not quite as good. And James Madison's nowhere near as good throwing the ball. They're bottom third of the country in through the air, and Oregon is elite there. So is Dante Moore going to be able to get enough done? The thing that jumps out to me is I think from an elite weapons standpoint, Oregon just has more there. But I don't know, because we saw the way that James Madison played against a really good Louisville team. And I know that I'm not saying Louisville's on par with Oregon, but they went into
It was
Louisville.
penalties. It was honestly penalties
Yeah.
that did JMU dirty in that game. Let's be for real.
Mhm.
Like, I am a huge fan of Alonzo Barnett, the quarterback of JMU. Kid can throw the ball. He's also very dynamic, like with his feet. I think that's going to be tough to guard if you're the Oregon
Yep.
defense. And that's the other thing is James Madison up front is stout.
Mhm.
It's a lot of homegrown guys with a couple of transfers in there, and it's their front seven is nasty.
Yeah. Well, and so it's Barnett, but then Wainwright as that.
Wayne Knight.
Knight as that
1,200-yard rusher.
Yeah, like and like 9 touchdowns. The crazy part is Barnett has 14 touchdowns rushing.
Yeah.
So pick your poison, because
Yep.
both of these dudes can light you up. But Wayne Knight has that home run threat in his
Yep.
arsenal, where he can bust a long one. And Oregon's got to be the one thing about when you have a top 20 run defense. Typically that's you're committing numbers, and they're able to cover on the back end because they've got dudes back there. They got that transfer kid from Purdue, and they got they've got a good back end. But sometimes you can get a team like that where if they commit numbers, you break one. If you get past the first level, you only got one guy to beat, and then you can take one to the house. And it's going to be interesting. 20.5 is tough. I'm not saying I like James Madison's chances a lot, but I'm just saying I think I can make a case for James Madison in this game more so than I can Tulane against Ole Miss, because Oregon's
love to see
offense
JMU do
isn't
it.
elite. It's not like crazy good. They've got weapons, but they've struggled to kind of put it all together. I don't know if that's on Dante Moore necessarily, but it's just been weird to watch them not be not just beating the brakes off of people when they should have the ability to do that. They don't run the ball particularly well, but they run the ball. They run the ball like the top 11 in the country. But you are playing in the Big Ten. And it's just not you got a lot of you go back and look at Oregon's schedule, and I'm going to run this thing down real quick so you can see what we're talking about here. Is that Montana State to start the season? Who the heck is this?
Talking about Oregon?
It is Montana State. Yes. So
Yeah.
They start off Montana State, then Oklahoma State. We know how bad they are. Northwestern, Oregon State. They're not good either. They beat Penn State when Penn State was number 3 in the country, but we all saw how that ended. They lost to Indiana by 10. Now, that was a good game, but, you got handled by the number 1 team in the country. Then they were number 7 at the time. Then Rutgers, Wisconsin, they beat Iowa in that really ugly. Now, granted, the weather was gross, so I get it. And then Minnesota, USC, Washington. So it's not like Oregon has put these numbers up against the top of the top when it comes to their schedule strength, but it is what it is. Like I said before, if I'm going to give James Madison credit for what their rush defense has done, what their pass defense has done, and how their offense running the ball with Knight and Barnett is, then I got to give Oregon their credit too. So I think this one ultimately comes down to, can James Madison maybe get a turnover, get a big play or two, and make Oregon earn it up and down the field without letting them get big plays, because they do have dudes on the outside. They've got some real weapons. Malik Benson and DeCorian Moore and Kenyon Sadiq, like they've got dudes in the passing game, and their running game is really good too. So we'll have to see like how these quarterbacks play But yeah, I'm kind of feeling like I'm not saying James Madison is live, but Tyler, I would not be surprised.
I would not be surprised. It's my favorite Stephen A. The Stephen A. take always works. I would not be surprised.
Yeah,
it's my favorite thing in the world. It works every time, baby. We got playoff football this weekend. I'm excited. You can't say much more. We got game taking place on home campuses. Who would have thought that'd be possible?
Yeah.
And then George just waits to see who we get to play. And then we just move right on. I'm very excited. I think we got some great matchups. And don't sleep on the G5 teams, ladies and gentlemen. They earn the right to be here, whether we like it or not. What more can you say?
Yeah. Add more teams so we can have BYU, Texas, Vanderbilt, and Notre Dame in the thing, and then we'll all be happy. And look, man, we got some elite venues too. I'm not going to say Oxford is there, but like the Grove is going to be crazy. It's going to be wild Saturday morning, but Eugene, Oregon, home game
at night.
Kyle Field in College Station, home game. Norman, Oklahoma, home game.
Friday
Let's
night.
Go.
Dude, I'm excited, dude. This is what we need. This is what it's all about, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope that they low key though. One of the reasons I want them to expand the playoff is to get more games like that. Once we can figure out how to once the bowls can realize that they just want money, and we can find a way to just do away with that kind of relatively speaking.
Yeah, because I like Rick Neuheisel's idea of having the bowl games be the first week of the season, where that's the thing where that's the week. Your week 0, week 1, whatever.
I like that actually. Yeah, that's your starting game.
This stuff, make the top 16, call it the Sweet 16, whatever. Make that the thing that is the holidays thing, right?
Yeah,
and then have that other stuff played at the beginning of the season, so that there's you still have these venues, you still have all that stuff. Now, there's some stuff that, a lot of that stuff it's easy for us to talk about and just throw these things out there. But some of these, like the Rose Bowl, good luck. You're not moving the Tournament of Roses to August.
No,
but
Pasadena, California in August. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's more than just the Rose Bowl. There's some of those other ones where the
Rose Bowl is the number one reason why the change takes.
Yes, but they've had a lot of these places, even if it's the Peach Bowl or the Poulon Weed Eater Bowl or whatever, they've got venues, hotels,
right,
all this stuff set up and geared to where they work around that. All right, so the third week in December, fourth week in December, this is what's going to be going on around here. So nothing else is scheduled around there, and there's stuff already scheduled in the late summer, early fall,
concerts and shit. You can't just
conferences and everything. Yeah, you can't just snap your fingers and be like, college football's going to play these bowl games in August and September now. No, you can't do it like that. But it's something to pursue and consider at least.
That'd be sweet. You'd be like, hey, touring band, you can't perform here tonight anymore. You know what I mean?
And then you would have bowl eligibility and all that other stuff for some of these lower school. I don't know, what are we doing? Is that the thing that makes more sense, or does it make more sense if you are the Poulon Weed Eater Bowl or you are the Pop-Tarts Bowl or whatever it is?
I guess it's you get to hold a trophy at the end of the year type of vibe, whatever.
Yeah, but what if you still did the trophy thing and all those other things, but you had instead that game is Michigan, Oklahoma.
My only caveat,
or it's Notre Dame, Texas A&M.
The only thing though is I feel like bowl games are also a celebration of seniors, and those guys who possibly earned a right to play and they don't get to play in it. So I don't hate the idea though.
It's a celebration of seniors sitting out because they don't want to play.
Right. Listen,
I'm just saying, it has become something else, and once it became that,
you don't get to play. You know what I mean?
No, I get it. But I was watching the first few bowl games, and the fact that we've had one starting quarterback start a bowl game so far through 3 bowl games. It's all been backup quarterbacks. or third string quarterbacks in some cases.
Yeah.
It's just it's getting to the point now where it's like, all right, man, what are we doing? Are we, we're doing this pickup contest with Drew and Jeremiah, and I'm just like, yeah, we're all over so far.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I
So
think
we
you
all-
got the Delaware game right, but it's it is not
Go ahead.
easy. It is not easy because this whole thing, like, you pick a game like a week ago, and then like, oh, sweet, so their starter and their backup. I'm not going to look at all these games to see who's starting and who's hurt and all that stuff. I just look at the spread and I'm like, yep, all right, I'm going.
Cool.
I'm not gonna lie. I went through that thing for the confidence thing, and I was like, I'm just ranking them in order of spread because I'm gonna just trust the Vegas people that this is my best path forward.
Yeah,
so we'll see how it all works out. But yeah, I would love to see them restructure that at least somehow, some way. And maybe it becomes a thing where it becomes like a group of 5 showcase, where you have group of 5 versus. This would be a way to kind of make the bowl games thing. There's the money that you would get from it and everything else. Make those early season games an opportunity for Power 4 to play group of 5 and get some of those games on the schedule. So you start to build that resume of like, okay, well, Tulane, you got the brakes beaten off of you in week 1 by Purdue or whatever, but like Tulane is a good case, but they beat Northwestern. Like, this isn't, what I'm saying? And I know it was a home game, but still, it's not like they are unworthy of being in a game in this magnitude. They've beaten some Power 4 schools. They can't schedule all Power 4 schools. They're in a group of 5 conference. They have to play their conference schedule. So I don't know, we'll see. There's a lot that can be fixed, but even with that stuff not fixed, this is going to be a whole lot of fun.
Absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. And with all that being said, we appreciate y'all for stopping by. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. We will see you for the recap episode next week. This has been the South End Zone. We appreciate y'all. Have a good weekend. We got college football playoff first round games coming soon.
Ladies and gentlemen. Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see you at the national championship.